put Captain Solo in a cargo hold.
What is going on, guys? Mr. Brickswag back here with another video. Happy May the 4th, everybody. This is going to be such a special review for me. As you guys know, I'm a big fan of LEGO Star Wars, and I'm a big fan of UCS Star Wars sets specifically. I got into it in 2015, and it started with none other than this set right here, the UCS Slave One. And there's so much I could say about this set and what it means to me. Obviously, this was 10 years ago, right? We're in 2025. I bought this thing in 2015, right? It has been such a long time. And this is the set that really did it for me. So just for a little bit of context, growing up, I love Star Wars. I love watching the movies and everything. And my favorite movie has always been Empire Strikes Back. And one of my favorite characters of all time has always been Boba Fett. He has such little screen time, but in that amount of time, he has some of the most aura I've ever seen out of any character. And he's just so sick, like this super awesome bounty hunter, kind of just there to collect his bounty, just do his job. And it's so sick. He just exudes aura. And I love Boba Fett as a character. And obviously, this is his ship, the Slave One. It's not really featured that much in the movie. If you actually look at the movie itself, it's maybe featured for about, a minute. And that's the recurring theme with Boba Fett is he doesn't need to have a strong presence in order to really show that he's just the most awesome guy ever. This ship also obviously does appear in the Book of Boba Fett series, as well as the Mandalorian series. It's still the same ship and everything, but it obviously looks a little updated. And this ship, this set, I should say, came out before it was in any of those shows. So it kind of goes to show, like, even though it wasn't a big presence in the movies, people still loved it. I mean, it's just that iconic. And so this set means, like, really, really a lot to me. It kicked off everything. I actually got a play scale Slave One for my birthday, maybe in 2011. I don't remember the exact year. My mom bought it for me, but the problem was that there were a couple bags that were missing, and so I couldn't actually build the thing. And it looked so cool. I ended up getting a Battle of Endor set instead, and that was really neat. But I always wanted to build this, and when they came out with a UCS version, I was sold. Anyway, that was probably one of the longest monologues I've ever done on this channel. But it's just so exciting to talk about this set and finally get to review it. So anyway, if you stayed until this long and you haven't skipped to the review already, thank you very much. But I will be diving into kind of the overall review of this. I'll first start talking about the build process, and then I'll talk about the minifigures, kind of show you a visual overview of the ship, talk about some of the features in it, and then kind of do an overall review at the end. So just really excited to do this and hope you guys enjoy. So thank you very much. Alrighty, guys. So first talk about the build process a little bit. Obviously, it's been 10 years, so I don't exactly remember the details of the build process. However, I do remember it being a really, really fun time. It all started with the base, and the base is extremely complex, and I'll get to all the features in a second. But it's very, very sturdy. Definitely one of the sturdiest structures I've ever built in LEGO, and this was, again, in 2015, so they really got their stuff together even back in the day. As you can see, this is all probably Technic frame, I think, and then it has panels that mount on, and so these panels are actually really strong as well. You probably shouldn't pick it up through the panels because, it can maybe crack and push in a little bit. You should always pick it up by the base. However, it is really, really sturdy overall. The one complaint I had about the sturdiness of the set in general is the wings. So if you actually notice, there's two wings on this thing, and unfortunately, this one is incomplete because my dad actually bumped into this at some point and knocked over some pieces, and I never fully fixed it. So it looks a little bit off. I mean, it still looks pretty good, but there's supposed to be some extra stuff on there. So if you take a look at this wing, this is actually should be 100% correctly built. It has these two things on there. It also has a piece connecting it from kind of the, I guess, a spoke right here onto the wing, whereas this one is fully disconnected, unfortunately, so it kind of bounces around a little bit, just generally unsturdy. But the rest of the build, I would say overall is pretty much perfect. It does come with a stand, which is pretty cool. And then you can put your set on that. So again, really, really neat stuff. Definitely a very, very nice stand. I'm gonna put it on in a second just so you guys can see what it looks like on there. But yeah, really, really fun build process. Again, I don't remember too much about it overall, but if I had to give it a rating, I would give it a 9 out of 10. Definitely one of the most fun things I've ever built. Really enjoyed the build process on this from what I remember. So yeah. So starting off with the minifigures, first we have the UCS Boba Fett minifigure, 100% authentic here. Has the arm printing and everything. Has that amazing, amazing pauldron. Just fantastic little piece right there. You got the sand green jetpack. You know, that sand green helmet with all those little details in it. You know, all the battle damage that he's sustained over the years. The yellow on the side there. You do have the rangefinder, which is really, really sick as well. So that is extremely neat. And then you also have some printing right here. You have some toe printing even, which is really, really sick. And so it's just a really, really nice figure overall. Definitely one of my favorite figures in my collection. One of these goes for like, you know, you can get this probably for $100-something if it's in good condition. So I will never sell mine probably. It just has too much nostalgic value for me, but it is really an amazing figure. And if you do decide to take off the helmet, that's what his face looks like. Unfortunately, no double-sided head on this, just the kind of evil Boba look. So that's all you need, really. Next figure we got in the lineup is this Bespin guard right here. I think this is also exclusive to the set. Oh, I don't know if I mentioned this, but Boba is exclusive to the set, which is really cool. This Bespin guard, definitely one of the cleanest, most classic like figures I've ever seen. It just looks absolutely amazing. Again, no double-sided face or anything. Nothing really fancy, but the gold trim and everything looks really nice, and they give him a little blaster too. And he's one of the guys that helps Boba Fett load Han Solo into the Slave One, which is that iconic scene. And then you have the Stormtrooper, which is also there from the Empire to help. Unfortunately, this one has sustained its own battle damage over the years. It's gotten kind of yellow, I guess. Still looks really nice and everything. It's probably one of the best versions of the Stormtrooper. Has that like dark blue printing and everything. Comes with a blaster rifle. So pretty sick Stormtrooper overall, but it is just a Stormtrooper at the end of the day. Now you move on to one of the coolest minifigures in this set, which is Han Solo. So obviously you got Han Solo here with his worried face because he's about to be frozen into Carbonite. He's got his classic shirt and pants. Nothing really too fancy here. But the really cool thing is, again, this has a double-sided face. I think it's the only one in this set that does. And the double-sided one is him being locked into Carbonite, which, as you can see here, matches perfectly with the Carbonite mold, which is really, really, really sick. And you can actually put him in there, which is what I'm going to do right now. Yeah, so as you can see, this is Han Solo locked into Carbonite. Unfortunately, the hairpiece doesn't fully cover the grimacing face. But yeah, that's him locked in Carbonite. It's really, really cool. And there is a play feature that comes with this, and I'll show it when I do the full review of the set. But yeah, this is really, really sick. Amazing minifigure lineup. 4 minifigures in a set like this. Definitely more than I could ever ask for from LEGO. So absolutely fantastic job with this. Alrighty, and now to do kind of an aesthetic review of everything. First, we'll do it in the kind of sitting down position, and then I'm going to put it up on the stand just so you guys can get a better idea. But just looking at this, you know, in this format, looks absolutely amazing. You can kind of see that there is a slight incline angle, which is absolutely perfect. It's astounding how LEGO managed to pull that off. And if you look at the base of this thing, absolutely beautiful, beautiful base. The red here, amazing color, and they mix it up with the dark gray as well to kind of show some of the places where the Slave One has been damaged. Unfortunately, there is a lot of stickers on this set, more than I even realized. I honestly don't remember putting on a lot, but you know, memory doesn't serve me well. But this is obviously a sticker piece right there, just to add some detail. You have that loading ramp in there.
And you can actually close the door on this. But I will open that up later just to show you guys some stuff. There is a small bit of greebling here, but nothing really crazy. And again, from this angle, it doesn't look that great because you can kind of see the technique that they use to attach the side panels. So it's not the most amazing, but it does look really cool. The loading ramp definitely looks really, really sick. So love that. Just love the way they did the base in general. It is a little bit blocky, but I do like how it kind of like angles out like that. It does look pretty cool. And again, it makes it very, very sturdy. They've used some awesome techniques on this, so it's pretty sick. And now looking kind of at the upper half of the build right here, again, just love the color scheme on this thing. It's absolutely phenomenal. You have the dark green right here, right next to the wings. It's absolutely fantastic. You have some black in there. You have light gray on the wings right here. And then as for the wing itself, you know, you have this like yellow gear right here, this brown thing, and just spots of yellow all throughout. Again, another sticker piece right here, a couple more stickers right here. Stickers are not the greatest thing, but looks pretty cool overall. I just love the touches of color on this thing. The light green, or the sand green, I should say, absolutely phenomenal. One of my favorite colors in all of LEGO, to be honest. And the dark green just contrasts super well with this. Again, you do have some stickers here, one small sticker here. You have stickers on the windshield. And I believe at the time this was a custom windshield piece. So very cool. And then turning around to kind of the front side of the ship, kind of get a full view on here. And you can kind of see this. So again, more stickers, unfortunately. Again, it's just all to show the battle damage of the Slave 1. But you can see it's nicely rounded here. Looks really cool. And you have spots of light green. And it's not a symmetrical build. I mean, each of the panels is a little bit different than the others, so that's why I'm showing you guys both sides. But does look really cool overall. Again, I just love the aesthetics of this. It is one of the most aesthetic looking sets I have ever seen in my life. The colors are just gorgeous and everything just scales super well with each other, which is why I love this thing so much. It really is awesome. All right, so before I show you guys kind of the full view of the ship, how it's supposed to be displayed, I did want to talk about the cockpit a little bit. So you can see here I have Boba, and he's actually sitting with his jetpack on and everything. You don't have to take anything off besides the blasters. And both his blasters, they give you two. I think he only really needs one, but they give you two. You clip them to these clips that are very conveniently put right there, which is super nice. As for the actual interior of this cockpit, there's not much to speak about. You can actually see like a bunch of Technic and stuff down here, but I will say that the cockpit itself is actually very nice. You have these two kind of silver pieces to indicate the headrest. You have these two like flight computers, which is really neat. You have this little control panel screen right there, and then two stickers also to indicate some of the flight controls. So very cool. This is how I usually put Boba. I don't leave him outside of this ship usually because, you know, he's the one flying it. So I like to have it in flight position kind of like this. Again, just looks really nice, and it's a great cockpit. The feature with this one is you can actually tilt this. So if you're on the ground, this is the correct position. Whereas if you're, you know, if you're flying, you want him to be tilted back kind of like this. So that's kind of how you're supposed to have him. Again, it's really cool. Very neat cockpit indeed. Definitely a very big fan of that. All right, so now we have the Slave 1 on its stand, kind of displayed the way it's meant to be displayed, right? Again, we already went over the aesthetics, but this thing looks absolutely fantastic. I will say the one kind of quote-unquote problem I have with the set is that it does look a little flat right here. You know, in the movies, the Slave 1 is supposed to be very oval, and they did a good job with this as best as they could, but it is, you know, a little bit straight in this section, so it doesn't form like a perfect oval. It just feels like a little bit too straight. It does look nice regardless, but it's just not movie accurate. So I do have to dock 1 or 2 points there. The wings you can tilt kind of, so you can tilt it like forward like this, or you could tilt it like backwards like this. So very neat there. I usually just like to have it like that, nice and flat. And yeah, so the one thing I guess we haven't looked at and it's really only possible to look at it from this angle, is the backside. Obviously, you can't look at it with the base on the floor, so here we are. The backside looks absolutely fantastic. Love this backside. Unfortunately, there are definitely a couple of places where maybe it doesn't look the most ideal just because of the Technic structure. However, as a whole, I think it looks really nice. You have kind of this dish right here. I think this might be like a radar dish or something. It's mounted on there. Looks really neat. And then you have, okay, so these are studs actually that are just meant to kind of support the thing when it's lying flat on the floor. So those aren't actually meant to do anything. The real star of the show right here is this midsection. And so you have these engines right here. You have these two light blue engines, and then you have it on the back right here. Now, I've heard some debate as to whether or not this is actually accurate. From what I've seen in the movie, the colors on here are actually supposed to be orange. So I'm not actually sure if this is 100% accurate. I think the way people have explained it before is that this is what the color is right after takeoff. And so maybe it is accurate. I don't know. Either way, it looks really cool, and it's a nice contrast with the red. So I don't mind it. I know some people might for accuracy purposes, but I don't really mind. I think it looks amazing. So that's kind of what it looks like from the backside. Absolutely fantastic. Unfortunately, no seismic charge here or anything. There is one kind of little play feature, I guess, in the back. It's more of a functional feature than anything, which is you can actually, oh no. Yeah, so you guys kind of saw that little blooper there. Unfortunately, you know, with age, Legos get really, I guess like crispy is the word I used to call them. And so they don't work as well as they used to. They don't stick as well. And so this came off when I was trying to do the play function, which is supposed to be that this actually kind of folds in like this, and then it extends outward also so that you can take stuff out. Again, unfortunately, this feature doesn't work as well anymore because this piece keeps coming off. But the idea is that you're supposed to be able to kind of, you know, move this, and then you're supposed to be able to take this out and use gravity, I guess, to shake out any pieces that get lost in here, which is actually a really neat feature that I wish more sets did. Again, unfortunately on mine, it's kind of busted. I might be able to stick this back on at some point, but yeah, it's just really broken at this point. Unfortunately, the connection for these studs is not really strong anymore, so very unfortunate, but it does work, I promise you. I actually have used this not too long ago. I think it's just, you know, the wear and tear is really starting to get to it. So anyway, yeah, you have this nice little hole that you can use to get stuff out, and I'll actually talk about that with the next play feature that I'm going to demonstrate. Actually, I lied. There is one more feature that I wanted to display while I'm in this position. Actually, a couple more features I want to display. So I'll get to that last feature at the very end. But the first feature I want to talk about here, again, this is kind of a play function, is these turbo lasers, I guess. Well, I don't know what you call them. I guess turbo lasers, whatever, lasers, guns, whatever you want to call them. At the bottom here, they actually turn, which is really cool. There's a Technic system. And luckily, this feature still works. Yeah, perks of having a genuine 10-year-old set, I guess. So, yeah, you can actually spin it like this. I don't think it goes all the way, but, you know, just enough for you to reasonably shoot anything in front of you, which is really sick. Again, this is a gunship after all, so, you know, you would expect it to have this functionality. And speaking of gunship, there's another feature. There's actually two, so there's one on each side of this, but it's going to be hard to do this one-handed, but I'll try my best. And actually, so these are actually removable. And I'm going to try not to take off the entire freaking panel with me. But you can basically take out this, and this is actually a weapon. It's really neat. This is a whole weapon system that you can take out, and you can kind of you can even display it like that. I know some people do it like that. For this one, it might be a little bit harder to do. But again, same idea. There is a weapons system in here, which is very neat. So let me see if I can do this one. This one, again, is a little bit harder to do. And again, with age, you know, it's like an old person, you know, they have joints and everything. So these things are really ancient now. And so this one never really wants to come out unless you force it out. But yeah, so you can see this one right here. Got this nice little blue laser, and again, another like yellow blaster right there. Again, I don't know the exact name of
of these things. But yeah, fortunately, both of these have collected a little bit of dust. I didn't dust the inside, I don't think. But yeah, really, really neat. Looks fantastic. And again, it just shows the awesome power of Boba Fett's starship, the Slave One, and all its firepower. So very, very cool there. And the final feature I wanted to show right here is actually the ramp itself, the loading ramp. Obviously, the most iconic scene with the ship in it. So you can actually lift up this door right here. And although there is no interior to this set, you can actually clip this Han in Carbonite onto the actual door itself and then shut it. So I'm actually going to go ahead and clip it, and I'll show you guys what it looks like once you close it. So yeah, I just clipped it on right there, and then I'm going to go ahead and now close it. And then shove it in the last way, and boom. It's pretty much 100% sealed. And again, that's actually how I like to display my Han. Or not display my Han, store my Han. So I usually don't leave him out in the open. What I usually do is I have him there. I have Boba in the cockpit right there. And then I have these two guys just kind of sitting off to the side doing nothing. Then I have it on the display stand. So yeah, I'll go ahead and put it on the display stand again, and then I'll talk about my final thoughts. Alrighty, so now we have the Slave One, just how I like it. Boba Fett in the cockpit, Han Solo in the cargo hold, and these two guys just waving goodbye while Boba flies to Tatooine probably to deliver his little bounty. So taking a quick look at the display plaque right here, you got the Slave One, manufacturer, Quad Systems Engineering, length, engines, hyperdrive system. Very cool that he has a hyperdrive. Maximum speed, 1,000 kilometers per hour. And then you have the list of the weapons right there. So I butchered it earlier when I said, what did I say earlier? I don't even know what I said. Turbo lasers. What I meant was twin blaster cannons. I'm really showing my Star Wars knowledge right here, or lack of it. You have this concussion missile launcher, the ion cannon, proton torpedo launchers, tractor beam projector, and the seismic charges that I mentioned earlier. You have 1 pilot, 1 co-pilot, 6 prisoners, 2 passengers, and 40 metric tons of cargo. Unfortunately for this set, you pretty much only have spot for 1 pilot and 1 guy in the cargo hold. So 1 prisoner there. Again, this is kind of a limiting feature because of all the Technic in the build. So I understand why they weren't able to fit more into the Slave One. But regardless, this is a very, very cool set. There are flaws, and after doing this full review, I actually am very keenly aware of some of the flaws it has. This set has aged well, I will say, like aesthetically and just in general. I think it has aged well. For the time, I paid $200 for it, which I think was a totally fair bargain. I mean, $200 for this giant beast. This has basically 2,000 pieces. I think it's 1,996 pieces. You get 4 minifigures. It's really, really awesome. I think it was honestly worth every single penny that I paid for it. The price per piece was really great. The minifigures were great, and the play features on this thing, despite being a UCS set, are great. And of course, when it comes to display value, which is what a UCS set is for, absolutely phenomenal in that regard too. So back in the day, I would have called this a perfect set. Unfortunately, given modern LEGO standards, I would no longer call this a perfect set. However, I would say this is a very elite and good set to have. I definitely wouldn't recommend getting it these days. It's just too expensive. And as of the recording of this video, the Jango Fett Starship is actually now out. And I think that's probably a really good modern remaster of this set. I would just get that one instead. Unless you're a really, really big fan of Boba Fett and you just love the color scheme of this one, I just don't see why you would get this one over the more modern iteration. I am going to get that set actually. As of right now, I have Jango Slave One shipped to me, so it should be arriving very, very soon, and I'm going to go ahead and build that, do a review, and then what I'll probably end up doing is a side-by-side comparison of the two sets to see which one ends up being better. I actually have no idea which one will be better because I have not made up my mind yet, mainly because I haven't built Jango's. So I'm going to go ahead and build that one, and then I'm going to
compare it with this and just see how the two, you know, match up to each other. But anyway, that's kind of the reason why I'm uploading this video in the first place, is because number one, it's May the 4th, and number two, it would be really, really nice to compare the old version of the Slave 1 to the new one, just to see how they compare. But anyway, this was a very long review, I think, but I hope you guys really enjoyed it. I tried my best to get into the nitty-gritty details of everything that this set has to offer. Again, there's a ton of really cool play features, a ton of really, really cool display value and everything. So definitely really awesome. If I had to rate this set overall, I would give it a 9 out of 10. It is a great elite set, not perfect, but very, very solid. And so I think it definitely deserves the 9 that it gets. And yeah, definitely have no regrets about buying this set. One of the best purchases in my childhood, with my father's money, of course. Anyway, these days I'm buying stuff with my own money. But speaking of money, I don't make any money on this channel, but I do really appreciate any support that you guys can give me. It really, really makes my day and helps motivate me to make more videos. Again, I don't benefit from this channel at all. So if you just please leave a like, a comment, and subscribe, it would really help me out a lot. Just show my content to more people. That's my ultimate goal on this channel. You know, I just love building Lego, and I would do this shit for free. So pardon my language. But anyway, that's it. Sorry, my voice is starting to go crazy. I had to do so many takes of this. But anyway, hope you guys enjoyed the video, and I will see you guys next time. Stay tuned to Mr. Brickswag for more Lego Star Wars content. Peace.